Let's all learn how to manifest metaphysically. In this episode of Awaken and Ascend, Kelly Wolf joins me from Edmonton in Canada. She calls herself the ambassador of the weird. Kelly is also a clairvoyant, sound therapist, and acupuncturist. Her journey has had many twists and turns. She had the gift of sight as a child, but put it off to the side, lived her life until her mother was dying of cancer. After spending the last 2 months of her mother's life with her, by her side, she saw so much through the veil and had so many downloads and felt the most amazing unconditional love. That was the beginning of her spiritual journey. Years later, she had a botched low back surgery that left her partially paralyzed. Prospects for healing were not good, so she turned to alternative medicine. And with that and lots of faith and patience, began to heal. Then she traveled to an ayahuasca retreat in Peru and had some profound healing. 6 years ago, her fiance died in an accident, leading to more devastation, and went deep into her grieving process, exploring many elusive questions about life. From that experience, grew in ways that she could never imagine. And through these healing journeys, Kelly has become a practitioner herself and joins us today as she's lived through it all and can share all about it. Welcome, Kelly. It's so wonderful that you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I am so honored to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And this is exciting because you have the healing, you have the experience different kinds of modality, saw how certain medicine procedures don't work. It can actually really mess up your life in your case, right? And also this real awakening that happens through grief, which I can really relate to because I've experienced a lot of that myself. And I'd love to hear how you experienced that awakening through the grief.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes it's hard to put those words to something so profound, something that doesn't even feel like it's in this dimension, I guess you could say. So being a clairvoyant and being able to see, you'd think it would be easier to deal with that type of grief, but it was actually devastating. To try to quantify it is tough, but it forced me to go very deep. More meditation, breath work was so healing for me. And just, I don't know, exploring more and more of what I can see. And, what is this? Why are we here? How do we change these things that happen to us, or do we need to change them, or are they a blessing, and can we make them work for us in the long run? And you can either stay in that grief, or you can finally after a few years I found the motivation to finally start stepping out of it. And the gifts that showed up were amazing. It's hard to describe. I wish I could put some words to it. Language is very limiting, as we know, right? So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. It is an experience. It's a feeling, it's a knowing. And as you say, you get to see so much beyond the veil as a clairvoyant. And others may experience that through other intuitive channels. And we all have the ability to manifest. And I'd love to hear from you how to manifest metaphysically, as you call it.
Okay, yes. So as you know, the universe is so much more than we see just here out in front of us. It's this beautiful holographic mix of all these different dimensions and frequencies, and everything is based on frequency and what shows up for you. So so I will say this before we get started. I want to give you this beautiful quote. So this is a quote by Einstein. So everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. This is not philosophy. This is physics. It's so true. That is so true. So what creates what we see I think that's the first step. So what creates what we see is our consciousness. And, if you look up the definition of consciousness, it's the state of being aware and your response to your surroundings. So we are creating what we see in front of us. And this is a hologram, a frequency hologram. And I know that might be hard for some people to swallow because everything feels so physical, but we're in the third dimension, and the third dimension is all about physicality. Although nothing is truly physical, it's just more dense, I guess is how we can kind of describe it. So it's, we just live in density, I guess, in the long run, right? So how do we create this hologram? It's thoughts, words, feelings, emotions. Emotions are a big one, and action. Action has a lot to do with it as well. So I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but the past, every version of us is already out there. Every version, every lifetime, it's already there. And the future, every version, every lifetime. So those are called timelines. So from one moment to the next, we literally switch to another timeline. Do we switch to the same timeline? Yes, we can. But if our frequency switches, we switch to a new timeline. So think of that as like a whole new earth. So a timeline, in this reality is a whole new earth with everybody on it. So what do you want your earth to look like, right? I want mine to look like, I don't know, where everybody is sovereign. We have nothing but love. Racism and hatred are gone. Community is a big thing. We don't have to work for money anymore. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, yeah.
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 And we can create this. I think, things we have things like TV, which, oh my God. TV, the news, things like that just constantly put fear in us. Even the news online, it constantly puts fear in us. How many, if you look at the news, what percentage of positive, I don't know, of positive stories do you see? Maybe at the very end, they'll talk about a dog that was adopted, right? For like for 20 seconds, and that's it, right? So if you look at that now, is all this happening in the world? Maybe, maybe not, but it doesn't matter, because what shows up for you is based on your thoughts, feelings, words, emotions, and of course, actions, right? So now I've had a lot of people as a clairvoyant ask me about their future. And here's the thing, nobody can predict your future. The future is predicted by you every moment of every moment, literally, right? So you are the one predicting your future. How amazing is that? Right? So, when a psychic, you go to a psychic and they say, okay, this is what I see for you in the future, but they're just basing it on the current timeline that you're connecting with that's not quite in your reality yet. So it's just a potential. But what happens sometimes when somebody tells you what's going to happen in the future, it affects your free will. So instead of, if somebody says, yes, I see all this money coming in about a month, right? And then so that person just sits and waits. Well, what happens when you sit and wait? It blocks it. It never comes in. You're not taking that action. Now, can you manifest just by knowing it's coming in? Yes, but there has to be some action involved, right? The movement and reality and is based on that's what life is based on. It's based on movement. And our reality is always moving and changing, right? Our frequencies are always moving and changing. Our body is vibrating and moving and changing, right, at the same time. So, all right. So, how does something you don't want show up in your life? Well, when you focus on it, and we all know that, what you pay attention to is always going to show up. Doubt is think of doubt. So let's talk about some of these words, right? If you could see doubt, what do you think it would look like?
If you can see doubt,
Yeah,
it would probably look kind of cloudy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all see it slightly different, but I see doubt is a brick wall. It
Mm, mhm.
stops everything. And then worry, definitely. I see worry as cloudy and stagnant and slow, right?
Yeah.
So when
So
you're
someone say recently that worry is negative future planning.
it is.
Right?
That's awesome. I love that.
Mhm,
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's so true. But we're so indoctrinated as kids, right?
mhm.
To worry, 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 right? So basically, just I think being aware of those words, right? Being aware of those thoughts, especially, and especially the words. The spoken word is very powerful, and the emotions behind it. So, so I have these steps. So we'll see how this works. So think of this. This is more of a I guess, a metaphysical version of the laws of attraction, right?
Okay, yeah.
Laws of attraction, when I listen to that, it's more like it's a little bit more passive, I think. You've
Hmm,
got to take an action. And I'll give you some examples for that. So think about how energy flows. When you're in a really good, happy state, everything moves a lot faster. When,
yes.
of course, you're in a lower state, whether it's depressed or melancholy or worried or angry, right? Everything just moves slower, and just think of it as friction.
Mm,
Uh, Trying to get something into your life, the friction just slows everything down. So here's my formula. All right. So step one would be, ask yourself. So I want to tell you a story behind this one, actually. So I had a client a few weeks ago, in my clinic space, and this guide showed up for her, and she's going through reprogramming with a woman who does this for a living to help reprogram her thoughts, because she has an issue with worrying, worry, 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 worry. And right now she's going through some changes in her life, actually very positive changes, but it's all about moving and the stress behind that, so she's back to those worrying thoughts again. So one of her guides showed up in the room, and her guide, it was a woman, it was a female, I should say, very in charge. And she said, ask herself before she says anything, does this align with truth and light? So whatever comes out of your mouth, does it align with truth? Do you know what's going to happen in the future? Nobody does. I don't care how great of a psychic you are. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. You can call yourself a prophet, but that's still a potential, right?
great.
So, and then does it align with light? Or you can change that word to positivity, right?
Hmm,
If it doesn't align with light and positivity, it doesn't need to be in your head. It doesn't need to be in your heart. So, and we'll talk about the challenges with that as well, because it can be challenging to change that. So ask yourself, and I am seriously going to get this tattooed on my arm right here. does does this align with truth and light? Do
uh,
my thoughts, words, emotions, and actions align with truth and light? So, and that's one. And then that's, I would put that as A. B in step one would be, ask your guides to help you. We're so used to not asking for help.
mhm.
If you could see all of your guides around you, you would be absolutely amazed. It's a your room is packed, right? So ask your guides, your guardian angels, even your ancestors.
Mhm.
Your ancestors, they are watching over us. So, ask for help. Now, always remember though, they're going to help you help yourself, because divine intervention, it does happen, not often, only in extenuating circumstances, because we come here to learn. So if they just do everything for us, then we're never going to learn anything.
Mhm.
So ask them to help you, and you can ask for little signs and pay attention, right? Pay attention to those signs. So uh and then, of course, always remembering what's going on in your head. So just catch yourself and switch it. It's okay, don't beat yourself up. Just catch yourself and switch it, and over time, you will see you'll have more and more positive thoughts in the day than negative. I've been working on this for years, and I think it's just going to be a work that would take a lifetime, and that's
Mm.
okay. Just being aware. So one thing I will say though, that that guide of my clients, she said this is what she told me to tell her, to write this on little stickies and put it all over her house, all over her room. And I thought that's brilliant. So I did that. I know you can't see my whole room here, but I have them all over the room.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah, it just reminds me through the day, right? Just a reminder. So, okay, so that's step one. So, step one, do my thoughts, words, emotions, and actions aligned with truth and light, and ask your guides. Okay, ask for help, ask the guardian angels, ask anybody you want, ask Source, ask God, ask Buddha. Okay, step two. This is the most challenging one. So, this is the reprogramming. So, like we said, take some stickies, write it down, put it anywhere you want. If you want to tattoo it on your body, then go right ahead. um, I would say the best thing, one of the best things that I did, and this is how I believe that I manifested that growth through the grief that I had,
Mm.
through the death of my of my fiance. I started journaling. I
Mhm.
used to journaling here and there before that, but the journaling was so powerful. So the written word is really powerful as well. And as you write it, you can read it. Remember that written word or that spoken word is a frequency, just like the written word, but spoken word is very powerful, especially for manifesting. So affirmations can be pretty helpful for some people. I'm not, it's not something I use often, but I know they are good. Um, you know, just reprogramming in any way that you can. If you're in a state where you feel like you just have so much energy, you just don't know what to do with it, you're angry, you're frustrated, take an action, any action to get that out. Um, if you have like anything physical really helps. The weather's getting really nice here now. Get a bicycle if you don't have one, get one and ride a bike. I love bike riding. It really puts you in this alpha state where you're really connected to nature. It's beautiful. It just takes you right out of it. Breath work, like I said, breath work is a really big one. I love, 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 love breath work. Even if you only have 5 minutes, just breathe for 5 minutes. Put a headset on and just breathe. Change. The reprogramming is challenging. The biggest challenge is forgiving yourself. Just be okay. Just be okay with making mistakes. We're not perfect and we never will be. Right. So just be okay with that. We can talk a little bit more about that. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Mhm.
Then step three is, like I said, get outside, take a break, take a breath. I get it. Here it gets really cold in the winter in Edmonton. Just bundle up and just go for a walk. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. I
It
remember one
really
day.
makes a difference. I was
Yes.
just out for a little break outside myself, and I was looking at all the green that I'm very grateful to have and be blessed with out in the front porch here. And I was thinking to what came to me was, look at the green, not your screen.
Yeah.
Because spend so much time looking at our screens now and just feeling the sun on my eyes, that natural light. I had my glasses off and just letting that natural sun rays and the sun codes just come in, and then, yeah, just look at the green, not your screen, even if it's for 5 minutes, like you say, just
Yeah.
reconnecting to what's real, what's physical, right? What's growing, what's full of light and life. Yeah.
100%, 100%. I love how you talked about the sun. So
Mm.
it's interesting. The acupuncture points in our body are areas where solar energy comes in.
Mm.
So it can have a really profound effect on
Oh,
us.
interesting. Yeah.
Really, really amazing.
Huh.
Yes. So yeah, get outside, get away, that'll change your frequency. Just 5 minutes. That's all you need is 5 minutes. So big thing is right brain. So I always say the only thing that stops us from seeing beyond the veil is our mind. And really, I would say the left brain, right? When you hear about little kids, when they're born, they're very psychic. They can see things. And as soon as they start school, all those gifts are turned off. I'm not saying it's bad to go to school, but anything right brain will help. Painting, any kind of, any kind of exercise, movement, even just put on some music and dance.
Yes.
I sometimes, so I'm working on a manual for sound healing right now, and it's so tedious. And so sometimes when I get stuck, I get up, I turn on music, I grab my cat and I dance with my cat.
Yay. Yes.
It'll just we can change our frequency in a heartbeat, right?
Mhm.
So, and that helps. And then I can come back to the computer and I can flow again. So I'm sure you've had that before.
Yes.
So, anything right brain, like I said, painting, drawing, and if you're going to paint your earth. What do you want your earth to look like?
Oh, lovely idea.
That timeline, right? Write the words on there. See, paint the words on there. See if that inspires you, and hang it up somewhere. Put it on your fridge. You don't have to be Picasso. You don't have to be Van Gogh. It can just be, your rendition, right?
Yeah.
So step 4, okay, is take an action. So this is where you can really solidify that timeline that you want to come in. So you can sit there all day and meditate. Meditating is great. It switches your vibration, which helps you connect more. But the action is what's going to bring it in. Because remember that our reality is based on movement, right?
Yeah.
So take that action. So I'll give you an example. So I have a sauna. I love this sauna. I was looking at saunas online, for a while, for a few years, and the prices were always a little higher than I wanted to spend. And maybe that was a limiting belief that I couldn't afford it, but it just didn't happen. And then I, and then I thought, all right, I'm going to go look. So I went to a few stores that had saunas, and I took a look and I saw the prices and I looked at them, fantasizing a little bit more about having one. And shortly after that, a friend of mine was moving to BC. They had a sauna. They hardly ever used it. They were getting rid of it for a really cheap price. And I got a sauna and I love
Wow. Amazing.
it. Was just the act of me taking a few hours to go out and look
Yeah.
and connect even more to the energy of having that sauna.
Yes.
It's really interesting. So taking an action for sure. Now, this is what's going to help even more. So this is step 5. So this is big. So how do you make this more potent? So this is how you make it more potent. So um, for example, let's say you want a new car and you've been looking at cars and you're not really finding one, and you are taking those steps in that action. Now remember, you can't BS the universe. This has to be authentic, but you can add some things to it. If I had a car, this is what I could do with it. Anything that's good for good for humanity, or to help someone out, that will definitely enhance that frequency. So maybe you can say, okay, if I had this car, I could spend more time at the animal shelter volunteering, or I could help my mother, more often with groceries if I had this new car, or I could take my mom to Jasper for just for the day or for a couple of days. So when you can take that action and you can amplify it with something that's good for humanity or for a loved one, or and like I said, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to keep yourself out of that factor as well. But if you can, that'll definitely strengthen it. So
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So
Wow. 5 steps for metaphysical manifestation. I love it.
yeah, so it's slightly meta, but if you know how your reality works, then you'll know how to shift it, right? When
Yeah.
you own it, you can change it
Yeah.
out of that victim, right? Nobody's a victim. What shows up is based on your thoughts, word, feelings, and actions. And sometimes you have to step outside, be the observer, or really dig deep to see why something is showing up for you, right? And then switch that.
Yes. And is it aligned with the light and truth?
And does it align with truth and light? Yeah,
Yes, I
absolutely.
love that. I love that. And recognizing that every moment is an entry point to our future. And there are so many different possibilities, potentialities that exist. So we don't want to be worried about that, right?
Mhm.
We want to be
Yeah.
able to be curious about that,
Yes.
explore that, and visualize that, and experience that, and become aware of what it is you truly desire.
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What's
Yeah.
most meaningful. So I love everything that you're sharing. That, yeah.
Yeah. So, and limiting beliefs are, this is never going to show. Well, how do you know? Does that align with truth?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
okay, that is not truth. So limiting beliefs are not truth. I can't afford that. That's a limiting belief. That's not,
Mhm.
because I think we've had, all of us have had some experience in our lives that something just shows up and you think, how the hell did that show up for me? That's, well, you manifested that. How amazing, right? How amazing. I mean, I still work on my own limiting beliefs, of course.
Of course.
I
Mhm.
still work on, trying to manifest things in, as a, a business owner with my own little business that's very different as far as a typical normal business. I do struggle sometimes with that limiting belief that nobody's ever gonna align with this type of business, but that's not true because
Mhm.
I get busier and busier all the time. So yeah, and it's interesting. I do have to say this. So whenever I take a day off, because I know, as a business owner, and you know this, right? You're always thinking, oh my God, I can't take a day off because I have all this, a lot to get done. But then, you think we think in lack that way, right? That
Mhm.
off, we're not getting paid that day. But I have to say, whenever I take a day off, like I go to the mountains to ski for a day, I'll this is when I get the most bookings. I get a whole bunch of bookings that day.
Amazing. Yes.
Always happens when I get out and play. That's that right brain, right?
Yeah.
So you're aligning with joy and light. And somehow through that joy and light, people want to come in. They connect with that. They feel that. Like one person has so much power in this whole multiverse. If you could really see yourself like that, I think the world would be very different, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. And it's creating space, isn't it, to be able to receive and have all of that come
Yes, for
when
sure.
you're aligned, with going out skiing on a mountain or doing something else you love that aligns with light and truth and letting go of those attachments in the
Yeah,
process,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Yes. So you mentioned your business, Kelly. What is it that you do? How do you help people and how can people connect with you?
Yeah. Okay. So my website is kellywolfwellness.com. And you'll see all of my information is on that website. Let's see, I do a lot. So of course I practice. So when I have somebody come to the home, I do a whole combination. So of course the clairvoyant stuff, that's always included. So whatever I see or whatever is showing up, we always address that. And sound therapy, I always say, is mandatory. I have a lot of sound tools I work with: tuning forks, bowls, gongs as well. I have, of course, I practice acupuncture, ozone therapy. I have a Rife unit. I have a little microcurrent device, a Healy. So I have a lot of little toys. I have a PEMF device. So, of course, I love anything that has to do with frequency, right?
Yes.
So I treat people in combination. So when they get here, if it's a new client, we sit down and figure out what would work best for them, and then go through the treatment. So that's one that I offer. I also offer online, Akashic record reading, clearing of generational energies, or transmuting energy from past lives. And of course, in that is sound therapy as well, with my online, if you don't live close to me here. And let's see, I also do end of life transitional care, which I'm absolutely passionate about. I don't have anybody right now, but when somebody is transitioning, if you can help them ascend, it's such a beautiful, beautiful gift. I do sound
Mhm.
therapy, I do counseling with the family, and of course, with the individual who's getting ready to transition, if they're able to communicate. And I also tell them what I see around them. So, yeah.
Beautiful sacred work, and so much to draw on for what someone needs. So we'll have that link to the website in the show notes as well, for sure, so they can just check that out there. Kelly,
Uh,
it's been so wonderful hearing about your journey, what you've gone through, what you've come through, and how what you're bringing to humanity as a result of everything that you took from those experiences and exploring deep within. I
yeah.
really appreciate you.
So much. It was such an honor to be here, Jennifer. I love, love, love what you do, spreading spreading all of that beautiful light around this planet. You have no idea how powerful you are. I hope you know how powerful you are.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And Kelly, do you have any final words for our audience today?
Yes, get out in the sun and let that solar energy go through your eyes. So take your sunglasses off, through your eyes and through those acupuncture points.
Yes, 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 yes. Wonderful.
And
All
does it
right.
align
Thank
with
you.
truth and light? Always remember that. Oh,
Always
sorry.
align with light.
Does it align with truth and light?
Does it align with truth and light? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to each and every one of you that have been listening and watching on Awaken and Ascend. I am Jennifer Regular, your host, also the Soul Illuminator at Lighting the Path. And I can't wait to see you again next time. Bye for now.